non-stop, all day, every day. So this is the storm we were supposed to get. I mean, it's insanity. This is what we deal with and put up with. It's sickening. Broke country. The military-industrialized freak show. I mean, I thought we went to get bin Laden. I thought that happened in 2011. So this is important. So Steve Jobs died 10 years ago today. So, as you know, I got sick on the 13th of October, a week after he passed. I met him right over here at Weber State in 1980. They were one of the first IT universities. You look it up, his first job, the guy said, he's from here, from Weber State. He worked for, said I used to have to make him work nights because all the other employees hated him. So my point is this: the oil spill in California, the nightmare that's going on with the Fukushima disaster. Here we come, they're calling another airstrike. All your money doesn't matter. I mean, it's sickening, the greed. Did Steve Jobs write that letter? I got to tell you this story. This is important. So, I got sick. I was due to fly to Zuccotti that day. I was in the emergency room. The girl who CAT scanned my neighbor, Natalie Farr, who's passed away since, she ended up being one of my nurses at McCady. What a great radiologist. The doctor never read my scan. He says, oh, well, I think it's sent me home. A couple days later, I went back, fought with him, sent me home again. Finally, I got a woman doctor in there. I'm watching the interview of Isaacson talking about Jobs and the book on the TV, waiting for her to come back. I was feeling better. She was gone a long time. She come back with tears in her eyes. They gave me too much to live that day. It's almost 10 years ago. When I was in the bone marrow transplant center, there was a doctor named Rob. He's all over. He's everywhere. He's the one that says, hey, I'm not supposed to do this, but there's a guy named Brian Morris. He's got the same disease as you. Everybody thought he would die. He was in the bad shape, and he saw how hard I was struggling. You interested in coming in? I'm like, yeah. So he told me he'd been all over. Steve Jobs had teams of doctors. That letter that came out, I was in the bone marrow transplants. They were fighting for my life. This supposedly Jobs leaked to a website, got put online, just going off on himself. I couldn't pay anybody to fight cancer for me. Just went off. I mean, incredible letter. Very controversial, did he write it or not? I asked Rob. Rob was one of his doctors towards the end. Do you think he wrote it? He said yes. Do I think he wrote it? Yes. I've been there. I sure wasn't having dreams about, you know, girls or money, at least on my mind. So many great stories of Steve Jobs. He'd roll over in his grave what happened to Apple. Remember I had everybody buying Apple right before that? Remember when I did my video where I'm splitting the Apple 7 ways 2 years before they split the stock? And I got everybody just going all Apple, buy the derivative on Apple. Remember when I was doing all that and I had all that Apple stock on the derivatives in 2011? Buy Tesla. Get out of your silver and go, buy Tesla, buy Tesla. Play back the tape, Your Honor. How come you're not a gazillionaire? God, was I deadly in those days on the market. I got leukemia. I was uninsured. I forked over nearly $1 million to get in, and this ugly, ugly fight has been ugly. I mean, it's been intense, it's been radical. Steve Jobs, I read his book. You know his sister, his famous sister, who you'd never known. Steve Jobs was paranoid about cancer. That's why he wouldn't shake people's hands. He was one of those. I mean, as far as using detergent to wash clothes, he was organic. He used to play in Hewlett Packard's garage when he was a boy. his whole business got stolen from him. You remember he bought his own company back, you know, Pixar. What was it? Toy Story. What a Toy Story. So he connects with his other adopted sister, or his, you know, she's famous, he's famous. She says, I've tracked down our father, our biological father. Would you like to meet him? Fuck no, he says. A prick. She says, well, I'm gonna. So she did. So she goes out, I think he's in Sacramento somewhere, inland somewhere. So I went and talked to him, and you know, wait till you hear this story. He says to me, well, I wish you'd have come talk to me when I was really somebody. I used to have a restaurant there in Sunnyvale. And everybody who was anybody used to come in my restaurant. Steve Jobs used to come into my restaurant every Friday night. We would visit, we would talk. And Steve Jobs' jaw dropped. And he's like, oh my God, I remember that guy. That's your father. They're hunting them right now. They won't restrict the hunting. The moose stood right here. You don't think that's symbolic? That DNR officer, he and I standing over there, he had no intention. He says, oh, a family that was in search for some moose meat. That was his plan the whole time. He probably sold that dead moose. He could have freaking tranquilized it. Here, what's the matter, you? Karma matters. Steve Jobs made a long time with pancreatic cancer. Dust in the Wind. Kansas. You know, they stole that song. They found it in a library. It's an old Native American poem. It's like Cobain. Lead Belly. That isn't Lead Belly's song. That song goes clear back to 1867. But you lied to me. Where'd you sleep last night? In the dead pines in the pine. Steve Jobs dead 10 years. What a 10 years. Oh my God, what a 10 years. I'm getting there. I'm in a 10-year program. I'll be the first one in the United States, maybe the world, my doctor says, who's made it with ML de Novo, with a marker this high, willingly, without a bone transplant. Now, Brian Morse was the guy in front of me, but he's since had a transplant. The leukemia got him come back 9 years later. He got a transplant. And his son, Winston Halfmatch, it didn't work. But they had a stem cell new boost. He was like the third one in the country to get it. He's alive. I don't know how. Ugly. I couldn't do this again. So Steve Jobs dead for 10 years. How metaphorical, how significant. Oh boy. He drove over his grave. So what freaking Apple's up to, what Facebook's up to, what Google's up to, what big tech is up to. Steve Jobs was freaking. No way would he have done that. You know, people say he was a prick, whatever, but there's no way he would have went there. No way. He was a church mouse compared to these ITers now. My heart goes out to anybody who has died of cancer in the last decade, the Fukushima decade. They don't lose their fight. Keep fighting, Kevin. Been really emotional the last little while. I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm getting to that finish line. I'm getting there. My doctor says it'll be 11/11/11 will be the 10-year mark. That's the first chemo that went in my body. They used an experimental mushroom root on me. I'll call my doctor. Says, Kevin, this disease you have in your body is absolutely brutal. He says, I can probably guarantee you 2, maybe 3 years of life. I can buy that for you. Probably almost guarantee it. Or we can gamble. And it's a long shot. But you might live to be an old man. Without hesitation, I said all in. So, the chemo that I had, I was on death's doorstep. Celeste says I'm a red 10. She says, you're the only red 10 I ever saw in the history of the bone. She was there 26 years. Ever walk out of here, or not go out of here in a body bag. It's been an incredible spiritual journey. I feel like so much of it has been an out-of-body experience. I truly do. I mean, it's just a big blur. I mean, it's a 10-year just, I went that hard. I knew it was right on my neck. I knew it was right there. It's been spiritual beyond spiritual. Went into a whole nother place. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. A lot of evil around us. What a journey. What a fight. Steve Jobs dead for 10 years. Talk about an iconic date. October 5th, 2011. After the Fukushima disaster. What a decade. What a horrible, horrible, brutal, nasty, ugly, ecological catastrophe decade. Great Salt Lake goes dry, tide pools wipe out, salmon collapse. They finally got the domestics off here. I've been screaming about it for years. Get them out of here. Find a home for them. They did. The pond is full of serenity again now. That's why the moose was here. Get what's the matter with you? We have no respect for the ecology. We have no respect for the animals. And Mother Earth has no respect for you. I fight for her, the sea, the ecology. She fights for we, Kevin D, and the sea. Straight out of Westwood. What a decade.